Makshika iva sanghrinan sahatena vinashyati.
Sayantanam shvastanam va na sangrahinita bhikshukaha Makshikaya sangrinam sahatena
vinashyati.
Sayantanam svastanam
Swastanam va Sangranita Vikshukaha
Makshika iva sangrinam
Satena vinashyati. Okay, translation of Prabhupada by Srila Prabhupada. Oh, word to word meaning, let's read that.
By Srila
Okay.
Chanto 11.
Yeah, fine.
It's got his name on the cover.
Yeah. Shayantanam meant for the night. Shwastanam meant for tomorrow. Va either. Na not. Sangrihanita should accept. Vikshukaha a saintly mendicant. Makshika honeybee. Eva like. Sanghranan collecting. Saha with. Tena that collection. Vinashyati is destroyed. Translation and purport. A saintly mendicant should not even collect foodstuffs to eat later in the same day or the next day. If he disregards this injunction and like the honeybee collects more and more delicious foodstuffs, that which he has collected will indeed ruin him. I think they're talking about purport. Brahma refers to that honeybee who wanders about from flower to flower, and Makshika is the honeybee. Makshika is Makhi, who accumulates more and more honey in beehive with great attachment. A saintly mendicant should be like Brahmar bee, because if he imitates a Makshika bee, his spiritual consciousness will be ruined. This point is so important that it is repeated in this verse. Yeah, I think previous verse they were like trying to say this same thing. Okay, let's see. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pracharini Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paishchadesh Taharine. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, I think previous verse it's the same repetition, but I'm going to read the previous verse now. And the previous verse translation goes like this. A saintly person should not think, this food I will keep to eat tonight and this other food I can save for tomorrow. In other words, a saintly person should not store foodstuffs acquired by begging. Rather, he should use his own hands as his plate and eat whatever fits on them. Oh, these Jain Munis, they do like that. His only storage content.
Generally, they do like that. Who are they?
Jain Munis, I told Jain Munis. Jain community. Oh, in India there is a community.
The Jain.
Yeah.
Whatever they can hold in their hand.
No. Yeah. They hold in there and eat. That's a system.
Are they skinny? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I won't again. Are they skinny?
Are they?
Are they thin? Are they fat?
No, they are fat.
They're fat?
Because they eat all peanuts and butter in there. It's like that.
Okay.
His only storage container should be his belly, his plate, his hands, and whatever conveniently fits into his belly should be his stock of food. Thus, one should not imitate greedy honeybees who eagerly collect more and more honey. Anyway, the point is, this is teachings from story of Pingla. And who is saying this, by the way? I think this is Avadut. He is saying this. So this injunction is for people who are in Paramahamsa stage of life. This is not, if you see as per, it's not for everybody. Because in dharma, in religion, there are different injunctions for different people. For example, a householder is not advised to sleep on floor. If he does that, next day his wife will divorce him. He can't sleep on floor. He has to sleep properly. But on the other hand, a brahmachari and sannyasi, he has to sleep on floor. He cannot use bed. So there are different injunctions for different stages of life, different varnas and different ashramas, and why? To help them advance properly from their stage of life, and also considering the social circumstances. Society is also there. For example, a brahmachari and a sannyasi, they are not even advised to talk to a woman, not even talk, to look towards a woman. You can't even look. And that is why Bhaktisiddhanta, he actually, when he started his movement, he used to put a curtain. That was amazing. A curtain was there, females were sitting behind the curtain. Even at the time of initiation, he used to throw beads from above the curtain. Yeah, he didn't used to see them.
The Swami Ryan temple,
they do like that? Yeah, I heard that, yeah. That Swamiji who just left his body was quite strict. So that's a system for sannyasis and especially Paramahamsas who are elevated sannyasis. After sannyas stage you have Koti Chaka, Bahudakha, then Parivrajacharya, then Paramahamsa. It's a big stage. So generally these Jains, they do like that. In fact, Vishnu Puran, it says that Vishnu came in form of a Jain Muni, and he started preaching. This Vain Maharaj, we know from Bhagavatam. Vain, you all know Vain, no? So he was a king. He was a pious king. In fact, according to Vishnu Puran, he was a pious. He was initially very pious, and he was chaste to Vedic injunctions. But one day he was going on a chariot, and one Jain Muni came there, and he was naked. Mostly they are like Digambar and Shwetambar. They are naked, extremely renounced, with a pitchi in the hand, with a peacock feather and that fan. So, and carrying a mandal. And then he told Vain, you're fool number one. So Vain said, come on, you know what happened. So he told, you abandon Vedas. Vedas are nonsense. They are just doing ritualistic things. Don't use anything. Purpose of life is renunciation. That's their philosophy. Renunciation. And leave everything. So somehow he got convinced. And that it is said that Jain, he was a follower of Vishnu who came in form of Jain Muni. Krishna came in form of Jain to confuse people in this age of Kali, to confuse demoniac people, to give a wrong philosophy, which was actually wrong philosophy, which was based on seemingly good qualities. Renunciation is a good quality. We were just talking. No, speak truth, non-violence, ahimsa paramo dharma. That's the injunction. So he got convinced. So that the Jain Muni told, see, come on, you are doing all yagyas. How is it benefiting anybody? And you are doing the ritualistic ceremonies, the deity worship. What? You are just wasting time. Better you should speak truth, be non-violent, develop good qualities, have renounced. So he got convinced. He really got convinced. He left everything, and he became a demon. He left Vedic culture, and from this point Bhagavatam picks up. And Bhagavatam says then what happened to him. He became really bad, and then all rishis had to come and then destroy him. by a mantra. They used a mantra, hum, what's that, hum, and they chanted mantras and they just finished him. Like he didn't actually, he was dead, like he died according to Bhagavatam. And then they churned his left leg. I don't know what that means scientifically, but they churned his left leg, and from that came Pap Purush, a sinful man. And they asked him to leave India because this is a pious land, and just get out.
We call it genetic engineering.
Yeah, we call it genetic engineering. Yeah, that's true.
You're talking about when they churn?
Yeah, they churn. But I don't know. But genetic engineering, it doesn't happen like that. But
Hitler did it too. He called it cloning. They were making a perfect race.
yeah. Probably the method of genetic engineering was different. I don't know. You don't do like that. So I am a geneticist. I was a geneticist, but probably I don't know what they did. But yeah, maybe. So they produced Papurush and they told you get out from India. And he went. And the next Prithu Maharaj came. Then again churned, and Prithu Maharaj, who was actually partial incarnation of Vishnu, and along with him Lakshmi. So that was when.
But wasn't so I think King Anga was married to the daughter of essentially, and so the Bhagavatam describes that Vena was cruel right from birth.
No. That's what Vishnu Puran says. He was not right from birth.
So the Bhagavatam doesn't. I was just looking. Let me just find it.
You can just find it, but I saw that, and he just.
Talking about King Venu, right?
Bhagavatam says about like that because his father was very disappointed because he was cruel from birth. Bhagavatam says that.
Perhaps.
Of course, there can be just a little bit of a.
Yeah, but I think you have to search in that. But Vishnu Puran says like that, so probably can connect it.
That sinful person too, probably described him as Latin. They were sent to Africa.
Yeah, Africa. I didn't want to say that,
Very
but
controversial.
at least in America, I didn't want to say that. I want to record that. I really don't want to record that.
So yeah, I mean, Bhagavatam is saying, right, when the boy was born in the dynasty of irreligion, his grandfather was death personified, and the boy grew up with his followers. He became a greatly irreligious person.
Acha.
The cruel boy used to go to the forest and unnecessarily kill innocent deer.
Now, probably what happened, maybe then Vishnu Puran is saying different yoga, or maybe he might be cruel and he might be in religious Vedic religion, but at that point he abandoned Vedic religion. So I don't know, you have to just put it together. But yeah, but then okay, fine. Then the point is that that this he was dead, and then he was convinced by the Jain Muni. So these Jains, they tried to Krishna brought a religion, brought injunctions which are correct, but for wrong stage of life. That is Jainism. So this is exactly said in scriptures. A Paramahamsa should use hands instead of plate. They should not collect anything. They should remain naked. In fact, Bhagavatam gives an example of Avadhut. When Prahlad Maharaj meets that Avadhut. We know that Prahlad, he was traveling, and then he met a person who was naked, and he had a discussion with him, and whatever he used to get, he used to eat. He was just lying down in one place. Avadhut could recognize Prahlad as a liberated soul, and in fact he knew he's a devotee. He said that in discussion, but then he said that fine, you're a devotee, so I'm talking to you, otherwise nobody will understand me. People think I'm a mad person. So these injunctions are there, but Krishna used right things at a wrong place to destroy people, and that's the understanding of this whole discussion. Yes, this is there for saintly person. In sannyas stage and brahmachari stage, you don't have to do like this. It's not mentioned. Brahmacharis are not supposed to eat in hand. In fact, in religion it is said, if you eat in hand, it's sin. If you don't use plate, and if you directly eat from hand in brahmacharya stage of life, in grihastha stage of life, it's a sin. What do? There are contradictory injunctions there. So much contradictory injunctions. In fact, in scriptures it is also said if a grahastha and a brahmachari do not wear clothes, then they are sinful. But here they say, if you read properly, Paramahamsa states, no need of wearing clothes. If you keep clothes, you are sinful. So that's why we should understand properly what is religion. But in the purport, Prabhupada says, the highest principle of religion is something else. The highest principle of religion is you can abandon all religious principles in service of Krishna. That's what Gita says. In fact, what was that? It is said in scriptures, if you follow higher dharma, for following higher dharma, leaving lower dharma is not a sin. And this point Prabhupada raises in Dhruv Maharaj. Dhruv Maharaj incident, it comes in which canto? Dhruva? Fourth canto. There's an interesting purport, and Prabhupada says that fine, Prabhupada raises this point, okay. We are all complete nonsense people in Kali Yuga. We have got this knowledge of Bhagavatam, which is the highest knowledge. We are in fact not qualified for this knowledge. This knowledge is for Paramahamsas. It begins like that. Amalam, this knowledge is for people whose heart is absolutely pure. But nevertheless, we get this knowledge, and we are also preaching this. Who is qualified to sit on this? Nobody is qualified in this Kali Yuga. Prabhupada says you have to be super realized to speak on a subject which is in fact itself so high. In fact, Prabodhanand Saraswati, he writes in one of his books that Mahaprabhu gave this knowledge to those people who have not even heard the word religion. Nobody heard even what is dharma. People were in America, people were asking, who is this girl, who is this boy? When people used to give Krishna book. Is it? So, these kind of people, Mahaprabhu gave the highest knowledge of love of God. In fact, love of God, which is Madhure. This is never thought, never seen. And that is why Rupa Goswami says, Namo Mahavataniyaya. He is most merciful. He gave. But the point here is, Prabhupada raises a point, and we are preaching this. Are we allowed to preach this? No. If you see religion, no. We can't preach this message until unless we are realized. There is an injunction, if you don't realize it, you should not speak it. Otherwise, you'll confuse people. I am not realized and I speak something, I'll confuse people. Because I'll put my own ideas, logical ideas. So what to do? But then Prabhupada says no. But Mahaprabhu's order is there. Amar ake hoye, taro edesh. You preach. But what is the logic behind that? Prabhupada says there's another religious principle that in emergency, anybody can do anybody's job. So a Brahmana can do job of a Vaishya and a Kshatriya, not in fact Shudra, but Vaishya and Kshatriya. And Kshatriya probably can do a job of Brahmana. You can interchange at that time of emergency, no? So if there is this tsunami, and you volunteer for that, and they'll say, come on, help. They'll not ask you any training. Are you trained in saving people or something? No, come on, help. So that's emergency situation. Prabhupada says, emergency situation, anybody can do anybody's job. So we are like Shudras, Kalau Shudra Sambhava. But we are doing a job of a pure devotee, a Brahmana. And that's allowed. So that's one religious principle, and that is why we are preaching without breaking a religious principle. So religion can be understood when we understand all injunctions, otherwise we will be confused. So you can know everything about religion when you read everything. That's very important. And it goes for Prabhupada books also. Prabhupada books have everything if you know everything about his books. If we just read one thing, then we might get confused, because that gives one perspective of that. So here, so Bhaktisiddhanta brings a point of purpose of spreading Krishna consciousness. One may accumulate unlimited amount of material opulence. This is called Yukta Vairagya. This principle is bringing Yukta Vairagya, often misused, but The principle is there. Yukta Vairagya. So Yukta Vairagya is a higher principle which is coming from devotional scripture, not from religious scriptures. Now there are levels of scriptures. Just like you see, Bhagavatam says, if you cannot understand anything in Vedanta Sutra, you should consult Bhagavatam. If you cannot understand anything in Vedas, you should consult Vedanta Sutra. And if you don't understand anything in Vedanta Sutra, we should consult Bhagavatam. Why it is like that? Because Manu Samhita says that there are different levels of scriptures, gradations of scriptures. Nothing is wrong, but there are different levels. Like we say this Karma Kand, Jnana Kand and Upasana Kand. So Karma Kand is those section of Vedas which is Purva Mimamsa. And then comes Gyan Kand, which is Upanishads, and then comes devotional scriptures. Can I close it? I just want to close. I can't see you all. So then comes devotional scriptures. So are they wrong? No. Are they contradictory? It seems contradictory, but they are not contradictory. There are injunctions for different stages of life. Like Prabhupada, somebody asked Prabhupada, this philosophy is Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya. They appear to be wrong. No, they are wrong. And Vedanta is correct. So Prabhupada said, no, it's not like that. Prabhupada gave an example, just like if you have a building and you make foundation. Okay. So Karma Kand and Jnana Kand, they made the foundation. Just like Nyaya, Vaisheshika. So what does Karma Kand say? Okay, fine. You do activities. You do yagyas and actions for demigods. For demigods you are doing. So the principle of acting for higher authorities, that is brought into focus. And Jnana Kand says, okay, liberation is the aim of life. Okay, fine. Principle of liberation is there. And then comes Vedanta Sutra. Yes, you have to be liberated, but liberated for what? Liberation for what? Why do you want to get liberated from birth and death? To serve Krishna, okay. You have to do action for what? Not for demigods, but for Vishnu. So, Karma Kand, Jnana Kand, they provide a foundation on which you make a building of Vedanta Sutra. But the point is, you cannot see foundation. That's the point. We cannot see. And Prabhupada continues, Prabhupada says, when you make the building, foundation is pushed down. And the building is up, goes up, becomes heavy, the foundation is pushed down. So it seems that both are contradictory. One is going up, one is going down. But nevertheless, foundation is supporting the building. That was a very beautiful analogy I heard. So Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, these philosophies are like that. Although they appear wrong, but they are not wrong. If you see the whole picture, in the evolution of Vedanta philosophy, it is helping. Like Mayavad, Shankaracharya. Mayavad is absolute enemy of Vaishnavism, of devotion. So Mayavad appears wrong. Definitely it's wrong. But Mayavad provides a foundation for Vedanta philosophy. If there was no Mayavad, Vedanta philosophy would not have been there. Because Shankaracharya established Vedas by his Mayavad philosophy. So that is what is religion all about. And that is why this concept of Yukta Vairagya is coming. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, people who are immoral, for them morality appears disgusting. And people who are moralistic, for them devotees appear disgusting. And people who are in devotion, people who are following Vedic Bhakti, for them, people who are in Raganuga Bhakti, they appear completely wrong and disgusting. And people who are in Raganuga Bhakti, for them, people who are at the stage of love, they appear disgusting. That's what he says. Because we are stuck up in one platform, and it's very difficult to perceive other platforms. It is very difficult. And that is why we need commentaries of Acharyas. We need commentaries of Acharyas. Otherwise, we will think he's wrong, and then they will think they are wrong. And then there is fight, and there are so many clashes, interreligious clashes. Islamic people think Christians are wrong, Christians think Islamic people are wrong, we Hindus think they are wrong. No, they're not wrong. We have to see the whole picture, and then we can see the evolution of philosophies. And according to time, place, circumstance, different religions are there. And according to the psychology of people, how much they can take. Even Christ said, I have so much to give to you, but I cannot. I cannot. Isn't it at the last time he said, I cannot. I have so much to give it to you. So that is why we need purports and commentaries from experienced saints and wise people. In fact, we need Acharya like Prabhupada, who by their own practical realization, they can tell, okay, this injunction is for this platform. In these conditions, you can override these injunctions. And without a realized person, it's impossible to understand scriptures. It is impossible. That is why Krishna sends his devotees. Like Bhakti Siddhanta, he came, and there was so much confusion before Bhakti Siddhanta and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Nobody even could understand Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita was lost. There was not even a single copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was actually tampered. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur collected a book, and he edited the Chaitanya Charitamrita. That this verse is wrong, this verse is right, this is added, this is not added. He did some research, but at the same time, by his practical realization, he could understand. Okay, this is right, this is wrong. And he printed a original copy of Chaitanya Charitamrita. That was because there were so many, at Bhaktivinoda Thakur time, there were so many upper sampradayas who had written their own Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Bhagavat. There is Chaitanya Bhagavat by Vrindavan Das Thakur, and there is Chaitanya Bhagavat by one Sahajya Sampradaya also. Another Chaitanya Bhagavat. I forgot that person's name. Panchsakha, there among Panchsakha. What do? There are two Chaitanya Charitamritas. One is Krishna Consciousness Swami, one is written by somebody else. In Bengal, if you go, there is a big confusion. So we need self-realized souls, and Bhakti Siddhanta is a self-realized soul, and he says, okay, fine. For spreading Krishna consciousness, we can collect how much money we want. We can collect food in our stores. Although this injunction says that no, you should not collect. A sannyasi, Paramahamsa, they should not even have the suitcases, nothing, not even plate. But we have, sannyasis have. As brahmacharis, we should not have money. But we are traveling brahmacharis, so we should have some money. What to do? We should not have laptops, but we have laptops. So what do you do with this? So the idea is that, Prabhupada says, we can acquire material things, but not for our own self-interest. So when scripture says, don't look at a woman, for brahmacharis and sannyasi, it is said, don't look for your selfish purpose, for your selfish enjoyment. That is important. If we don't understand that concept of selfishness, we can't understand scriptures. In fact, whole scriptures are designed to get us rid of this selfishness, this selfish propensity to use things for our own purpose. That's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, when we do devotion, we lose ourselves in service of Krishna. Not that we'll annihilate ourselves, but we'll lose ourselves in service of Krishna. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Ami to amar nahe. I am no longer mine. I don't even belong to me. Even the concept of me I have offered to Krishna. My I belongs to Him. And that is what is, I am submissive to the will of Lord. That's what Mahaprabhu says, Ashlishava padratam pinastumam. Krishna, you can do anything. You can either make me or break me, whatever you do. I am always your servant. In fact, a pure devotee says, Krishna, when you give me bliss, I am your servant. When you give me unhappiness, then I want to serve you more. I want to serve you more. Because I know that unhappiness, that the miseries which you are giving me, that's your plan to make me pure. If that is what you want, then miseries are my happiness. That pure devotee can understand. And he enjoys miseries of life. And there was example, this devotee was a Kanak Das. And I was telling. So Kanak Das, he went to Tirupati. And they caught him and they were beating him. They were like beating him. They caught him and they were beating him. Because they put a false charge on him that he stole the ornaments of Krishna from the temple. And his god brothers were envious, so they bound him and started beating him. But then what happened was, Vishnu was seeing him that he was being whipped and he was suffering. So Lakshmi told Vishnu, "Why don't you save your devotee?" Vishnu didn't say anything. Lakshmi became angry. She told, "He's a devotee, pure devotee. You should save him. People are beating, he'll die." Vishnu said, "No, you please keep quiet. This is me and my devotee. Don't come in between." So Vishnu told, "See, you can't understand. He's enjoying that beating." I know. Lakshmi says, "How is it?" So he says, Kanak Das, he's thinking in his mind that this beating is arranged by Krishna for me. Because pure devotee is absolutely convinced. Whatever in their life happens in their life, it is will of God. They're convinced. So he knew that this is will of Vishnu, and if it is his will, he wants me to get beaten, I'm more than happy. And with every whip he was getting bliss in his soul. Yes, Krishna, if you want this, yes. So you see, the miseries were bliss for him at that time. And that Vishnu told Lakshmi, "Lakshmi, he is feeling bliss. And that is why I am continuing this beating. I am not stopping it." That was interesting. And that is why this whole scripture and religion and all these things are based on consciousness and intent. That is why there are different injunctions for different people. Intent is different. Consciousness is different. Once Prabhupada was speaking a lecture in Juhu and like this, and the mic was not so it was not stable on this mic. So he asked one devotee, "Okay, is there any rubber band or thread to put this properly?" The people were searching, and there was a devotee sitting with a Brahman initiation. "Thread? Do you have the thread?" Prabhupada said, "Okay, remove your thread and give it to me." Prabhupada, he said, "Yeah, remove your thread." So he gave his thread, he bound the mic and he gave a lecture. And then Prabhupada said, "See, he said this thread makes you a Brahman. And this thread is for service of Krishna. It is not for making you a Brahman." That's the point. It is to remind you that you have to serve Krishna because this is in service of Lord. And by tying the mic, I am using this thread actually in real service of Lord. You are just hanging it, but I am using it. And that's the difference between different levels of consciousness. And that is why here the levels of consciousness are graded according to the levels of selfishness. So why Shudra is Shudra? Because he's more selfish. Why a Kshatriya, why a Vaishya is Vaishya? Because he's a little less selfish. A Vaishya is supposed to do charity. They do charity. A Kshatriya, Vaishya gives money in charity. Kshatriya gives his life in charity. He's even less selfish. And a Brahmana, Kshatriya is giving life in charity, but a Brahmana gives his soul in charity to God. So he is the least selfish. He is actually selfless. And a Vaishnav is even greater than Brahman. A Vaishnav, who is a Vaishnav, is a devotee. Why is greater than Brahman? He is absolutely selfless Vaishnav, because a Brahmana, he in fact wants peace and satisfaction in return. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. There he is. But a Vaishnava is not like that. Like Kanak Das. He invites miseries. Okay, good. Like Kunti. Yes, we enjoy it, Krishna. Whatever you give, we enjoy it. You give us basmati rice, that's nice. You give us some dry puffed rice, that's also nice. Like Sudama. He was happy. So they are the least selfish. They're actually selfless. And for them, scriptures are different, devotional scriptures. For them, okay, you can collect any amount of money. You can eat any amount of prasad, no problem. Be happy and serve Krishna. Prabhupada said to his devotees in Vrindavan, one devotee, he was like 2-3 devotees in Vrindavan, they were doing austerities. They were eating like less. So then Prabhupada asked, "Why are you appearing little unhealthy?" Prabhupada asked him, "You are appearing little pale." So he said, "Prabhupada, we are like eating little less." Prabhupada said, no, eat parathas with ghee and distribute books. That's what he told. He told, why do you want to do all these things? So just like Chaturmasya is now there, somebody asked Prabhupada, do we have to do Chaturmasya? Gaudiya Math they do very strictly. Prabhupada said, no. For the Chaturmasya, the whole Chaturmasya is designed to get rid of the tendency of taste. That's what he said. Tongue, to control tongue. To get rid of selfishness of tongue. And if you are in service of Lord, if you are preaching, and if you understand this idea, you don't need to follow all rules and regulations. Minimum you can follow for health. No milk, no curd, whatever. That is a healthy regime. Otherwise, forget it. So that is the idea. And in fact, this idea is portrayed in Srimad Bhagavatam by that example of Indradyumna Maharaj. Indradyumna was there, who was cursed to become an elephant. He became Gajendra in next life. So that he was a king, Indradyumna. He was actually from Tamil Nadu. Now, present Prabhupada says. And he went to Malaysia to do meditation as a king. So his name was Indradyumna. This is different Indradyumna from Jagannath Puri Indradyumna. So he went and he was doing meditation, and Agastya Muni comes. And he sees, he's sitting, he didn't get up and offer obeisances. Because he was thinking in his mind, and the explanation is given what he was thinking. Of course, if he left his kingdom and he went to Malaysia to do meditation, he should have easily understood to respect great saints. That's the first norm, like we understand. So he understood that. To respect saints, that is very important. And that was Agastya Rishi of all rishis. But he thought that, okay, fine, Agastya Rishi is coming. So now, but I am meditating on God. So I should not disturb this meditation and offer obeisances to him. Later I'll do. He was thinking like that. And then Agastya Rishi saw and he said, Agastya Rishi, you know what he said? He said, you are selfish. You are doing devotion to God, I know. But you are doing for yourself. And that's the problem. You are selfish, even in devotional life. That is why I curse you to become an elephant. So elephant is a big, okay fine, he's sitting in one place whole day. You're sitting like this? Okay, sit like this. And that was a problem there. So nobody in scriptures, they don't like, Krishna doesn't like selfishness. That's what he doesn't like. That's what Prahlad Maharaj says, Aham Mameti, I and me. For me. Even if we do devotion for ourselves, Krishna doesn't like. No, Krishna will not like. And that's very difficult to do. That's almost impossible. We are all doing devotion for ourselves. If Krishna comes and tells you, okay, my dear devotee, you chant 16 rounds nicely, and you should distribute books, you should make a temple before you die, and after you die, I'll send you to hell. Anybody going to do? We going to do? Yeah. Some devotees, if we understand, we are going to do. Okay, no, Krishna, no problem. And Krishna says, be sincere, otherwise I'll not send you to hell. It's confusing. Krishna can confuse. Krishna knows how to confuse us, to test us where we are. You can Mahabharata, if you read, Krishna confused so many devotees. Krishna confused Bhishma. Bhishma is a Mahajan, pure devotee. Krishna confused him. Krishna made him face-to-face confrontation with his spiritual master, Pashuram. And Bhishma had to take a decision. What to do now? Krishna confused Arjun when Ashwathama, and that was like purposefully in front of them. Ashwathama was sitting and Krishna told Arjuna, you kill him. Bhima was telling Arjuna, you should kill him, he's nonsense. Draupadi was telling, no, you should not kill Ashwathama. Because anyway, Ashwathama has killed my sons. Ashwathama killed Draupadi's sons in sleep. So Draupadi was saying, anyway, he killed my sons. I am so unhappy. If we kill him, his mother will be also unhappy. So why should we do tit for tat? That doesn't look nice. But Bhima was telling he's complete nonsense. Again and again he's like after our life, First Parikshit and then this Draupadi's son. And then Arjuna was confused. Bhima is saying yes, Draupadi is saying no. Krishna said to Arjuna, okay, fine. You do something when you can satisfy both of them. So you kill him and don't kill him. How do you do this? He confused Arjuna. So see, this is the point. So Krishna can confuse us to test us, and we should be ready for that. We should be ready. How should we make ourselves ready? Not exactly by reading all scriptures, that's almost impossible. Perhaps by reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Gita, and in fact Prabhupada books very nicely, and then we can understand this central point of Yukt Vairagya. Yukt Vairagya means to not be selfish in service of Krishna. Just get rid of all traces of selfishness from your soul. No devotion, not for oneself. That is Yukt Vairagya. That is actually Yukt Vairagya. Yukt means joining. Vairagya means renunciation. Vairagya means if you have to leave something, leave this concept of selfishness. Not these things. That's what Prabhupada said, no? Leave yourself. Don't keep yourself to you. That's the idea. But we are so attached to ourselves that we want to keep ourselves with us and give other things to Krishna. That is mundane renunciation. Krishna, I'll keep myself to me and I'll give everything to you. No. Krishna doesn't want matter. Krishna wants your consciousness. And consciousness is all about three things. Prabhupada says thinking, feeling and willing. And Prabhupada says that Krishna wants that. Krishna wants live things, not dead things. But thinking, feeling, willing, that's what Krishna is looking for. No thinking of yourself. Don't feel happiness without Krishna. Don't feel that. Don't feel even unhappiness without Krishna. Of course, we feel unhappy when we are not with Krishna. But without Krishna, happiness and unhappiness have no value. And don't intend to do anything which is directed to your own self-satisfaction. That's the idea. So all three things we have to keep focused in our mind. We have to be careful. And then we can understand how Prabhupada is writing purport. Because if you see the purport, it seems totally different. Something else is said here, that a sannyasi, a paramahamsa should not keep food for tomorrow, but and should not wear clothes. And the purport comes, no. You can keep unlimited amount of money. That's what Bhaktivedanta says. In service of God, it's just contradictory. As a ISKCON devotee, we can understand that. We accept it. But if any third party reads, they say, come on, what they're saying, they're completely different. They're not putting as it is. It's not a purport, it's an interpretation. It's a deviation according to Bhagavatam, according to them, a third person. But it's not. And that we should be able to explain how it is not. And the only way to explain is if you go at the level of consciousness, not actions per se. Actions are justified until unless your consciousness is pure. If your consciousness is not pure, actions are not justified. Actions in devotional life, they're like an ornament to the consciousness what we carry. That is why Prabhupada named this movement Krishna Consciousness. And that is what is Yukt Vairagya all about. So, if we preach for our own selfishness, that's also not preaching. That's a wrong preaching. So let's do everything for His pleasure. It's difficult to do. We have to introspect. In this busy life, we don't introspect in ourselves. And that is the meaning of Swadhyaya. In fact, I was reading that. Swadhyaya doesn't mean just reading. Swadhyaya, Swa means oneself. Dhyaya means to meditate. When you meditate on your own nature, when you meditate on your own swabhava, that is Swadhyaya. And these books, they help us to meditate on our own nature. They help us. Because if you don't know anything, what do you meditate on yourself? So Swadhyaya is not just reading. Okay, you read Prabhupada books and just read. No. It's not an academic thing. You have to read and use them or employ them in meditating your own nature. Who are you? What are you doing? How much messed up you are from inside. And these books are like mirror. They will show you, okay, this is you. You know this, I'll end here. this Duryodhan and who was a Dushasan, they went to Hastinapur to meet Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, he made a big palace. We know that, no? Indraprasth. So they went to Indraprasth. Yudhishthira Maharaj, by the help of Maya Danav, on the order of Krishna, he made a palace which was full of illusion. And when Duryodhana and Dushasan came to meet Yudhishthira invited them. So there was a mirror. And Duryodhana asked, what is this mirror? So Yudhishthira said, when you see in this mirror, you will see your original form. So Dushasan went and he saw his face. And when he saw his face, he could see a monkey there. And he said, what is this? I am a monkey. Yudhishthira told, yeah, you are a monkey. You don't know what to do. Duryodhana told you, come and disrobe Draupadi, and you started doing that without even thinking what you are doing. Then Duryodhana saw his face and he saw fox. And Duryodhana said, come on, I am a fox. Yudhishthira told, yeah, you are cunning and you deceive people and you are mischievous. So these books are like that. Prabhupada books and Bhagavatam, they will show your face. Okay, this you are. If you want to see yourself in these books, that is Swadhyaya. So we use these things to understand who we are. And when we understand our own Swabhav, that is called spirituality. Swabhav adhyatmam uchyate. It is said in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter. To understand one's own nature, that is spirituality. To employ one's nature in service of Krishna, God, that is religion. There is a difference between religion and spirituality in this sense. Adhyatmik and Adi-Daivik, that's the term used. Adi-Daivik is, Dev means God. That is religion. Adhyatmik means spirituality. So that's what we have to read these books in such consciousness. We can understand them properly and advance properly in Krishna consciousness. And one day will come, we love Him and Krishna will love us. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions on this? Oh, what's his name? There's a mic there? Okay. Mic is here.
Look here.
Mic is here.
Oh, God.
Okay, so anything otherwise?
Can I ask a question?
We'll just. And there?
Well, thank you for the wonderful discourse. I just want to ask a question so you'll keep talking. But, what do we do in those situations? Because so often we don't know what's what. Just like Prabhupada's books are so amazing and so perfectly written, but they're just go right over the top of my head sometimes.
My head also.
What to do? Just read.
No, that's what I was telling, that read it to introspect who we are. That is Swadhyaya. When we read, we meditate. Okay, who am I and how should I take these instructions in my life? So, and then when we meditate on ourselves, then slowly these books will reveal. These books talk. You don't have to read them. They'll talk with you. And that is why these books were talking to Prabhupada and Bhakti Siddhanta, and they could understand, okay, this is the verse, but this is the meaning. The verse is, don't keep clothes. And the meaning is, keep all the money of entire world. What is this? It's contradictory. But they could understand that. Because they were actually meditating, they were reading these books and try to understand, okay, how should I apply in this life? And what is applicable to you, that is applicable to everybody, Is it? What will work for you, that will work for others. So that is Swadhyaya. That is very important. So if we know how to evolve our soul, we will know how to help others to evolve their soul. That's the idea. So that is how we read these books, to meditate and not just to read. And then, of course, even then it is not little easy, because we have to be little realized to get out of. There will be many confusions still, many contradictions. But that is why when you read Swadhyaya also contains an aspect of prayers. Swadhyaya. That also means, Dhyaya also means prayers. Dhyayati. It includes prayers. So that is why when we read books, we meditate. Along with reading, we meditate on our nature, and also we pray. We have to pray while reading these books. They will not open themselves. That is why it is said these books are open secret. They are open secret. To unlock them, we have to pray. Otherwise, Krishna will not allow us to understand. We will fall into contact. Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, if we simply read these books and if we don't make ourselves pure by meditating on ourselves, where these contaminations are there, we have to work on them. We don't work on them, then we'll fall into contradictions. And just like Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur's disciple, Sundaranand Vidya Vinod, Bhaktivedanta Swami Thakur's disciple, Bhaktisiddhanta wrote a poem on him. Bhaktisiddhanta, out of all people, he was not of that nature of writing poems on somebody. But he wrote a poem in glorification of Sundaranand Vidya Vinod, and the same person, disciple, he rejected him. He found his teachings contradictory. Yeah, and he threw all teachings in Ganges. That happened. So, illusion is very strong. We can do anything. Krishna is but more strong than her. If we allow him to enter our life, what I have experienced is, we don't allow him to enter our life. We read these books, but okay, this much distance should be there between this book and me. It should not come in my heart. And that doesn't happen. And how that happens? That happens by Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. To follow them. And to follow them, we have to pray to Krishna for guidance. It doesn't happen. At least, Gatir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Nivasa Suhit Sharanam. That's the verse. So that's the meaning of reading. That's what I'm telling. Reading includes meditation on one's own nature and also prayers. Then these books unfold. Otherwise, it goes sometimes on the top. And we get confused. Is it? Does it answer your question? Or?
Perfectly. Thank you. I was curious about this statement that we chant every day, Shri Guru Charana. So the lotus feet of our spiritual master.
Yeah.
But then we worry about which we attain pure devotional service, which is our goal. So, what does that mean? The lotus feet of our spiritual master.
Lotus feet, Shri Guru Charana Padma, that means his instructions. As simple as that. We catch hold of somebody's feet, okay, so what do you want, my dear master? I'm surrendered at your feet, at your will. Surrender to his will. That is actually catching the lotus feet. That is why we say namaste in Hindi. So that means na means not, ma means me. Let not my will be fulfilled. Let your will be fulfilled. Namaste, that's what we do. And this is whole idea of Vedic religion, to get rid of our selfishness. This will, our own will. That is what is catching the lotus feet. Let not my will be fulfilled. Ebejaj kushok tribhuvana. Let your will be fulfilled. That's what is catching the lotus feet. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Now, a puffed up, arrogant fool such as myself, how can I have any confidence that I'll ever achieve this goal?
That's a good question. I also think the same thing. But the next thought is, okay, for ourselves it is impossible to attain Krishna. If we look at oneself, it's so nonsense. But the next moment when we look towards Krishna, we get a hope. Because he can make nonsense complete sense. He can do impossible possible. So when you look towards yourself, it's impossible. But the next moment when you look towards Krishna, yeah, we have hope. He can help us. So both thoughts are there in devotees. And that's what, I was reading a verse in Padyavali by Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami has written a book, Padyavali. Prabhupada quotes that in Chaitanya Charitamrita Antalila. You don't have to read that book. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Radharani is saying, there's a verse there in the Prabhupada, written by Rupa Goswami. Radharani is saying, yes, it is truth that to get released from cycle of birth and death is almost impossible. It is truth that we have to get released from cycle of birth and death. It is true that Yamuna, the river Yamuna, is very far. It is true that Krishna has left us. But as soon as I chant Krishna's name, I forget all these things. And that's the point. It is true for ourselves, it is impossible to attain Krishna. But as soon as we chant His names and look towards Him, everything seems possible. Nothing is impossible. That's the idea there. That's okay.
You know, even in Christianity, they have a quote from Lord Jesus.
What's that?
What's possible? And He says, with man, nothing is possible. But with God, all things are possible.
Okay, that's nice. So it confirms our...
what you are mentioning, what you're saying that we can't do what Krishna can. Krishna. So I'm just thinking that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, again it's from Goswami's writing. Krishna Nama Adi.
Vidgrayam Indriyai.
So Seva Mukhe
Jevadav Swayam Eva Surati. Yeah.
When we turn towards Krishna with that intention, desire to serve,
then Swayam Eva. Then everything happens. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is a verse. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We can. Okay, so that's it. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Keshav Anand.
Keshav Anand.
His Grace